God damn it. My fucking office is such a mess.
And we're off. Welcome to One Foot in the Grave podcast. I'm Dan.
I'm Jake.
Yeah, Pete's dead. So that's the news to the listeners.
That's resolved itself.
Well, I resolved it.
Yeah.
And that's all I really have.
How long's it been?
Too long, mate. Too long.
Too long, Mike. At least 2 weeks, maybe 3.
It's been like a month, hasn't it?
Because what happened was we were like, how do we become successful podcasters? And it was like number 1 rule: upload frequently. So we just ignored that rule. And the number 2 rule: edit your podcasts and make sure they're easy to listen to.
Nope.
Not doing that.
That's so much work.
We got 10 or 11 listeners out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a mediocre.
Meteoroker. It's like a really boring meteorite.
I've got a mediocre life.
Did you see that shooting star? It was kind of mediocre.
Bah, zing zing.
Stupid. Oh God!
And we just lost our last listener.
Yeah. So the captain from True Crime Garage actually gave us a shout out the other day on Twitter. Yep.
Lies.
I had recommended the podcast and he retweeted what I wrote. And then the person who had been asking for recommendations said, this really isn't my thing. I don't know if you're still off the liquor, but I'm having a Big Axe Brewery Lumberjack East Coast Lager tonight. Big Axe Brewery's from Nakwik, New Brunswick.
We got some really nice handcrafted gin last night from someone.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Bathtub gin.
Well, it's in a really fancy bottle.
Oh, okay. Does it have like a something of London written on it?
No.
I recently had a pretty fancy gin that I bought
this is in like a
Mom and Dad.
This is in like a black bottle.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. It'd be good if I knew the name, but again, I'm the lazy one. I don't even have anything prepared for today. So
that's okay. I've got one that's going to take some unpacking.
Okay.
So Dad's been sick. I mean, that's the real reason this has been so fucking long in the making. I don't think it's your laziness so much as he was in the hospital. He got pneumonia. As you know, he's on chemotherapy. So that was a fucking dog and pony show. And, we had a few close calls, and it was not a fun month. And he's kind of back up and at him a little bit now, but Jesus. Fucking, it's like living a nightmare. Oh, pardon me.
Oh, my soul. I'm looking to see this retweet that you're speaking of, but I just cannot. I can't find it. I did love the new traffic lights turn on at Costco though, that you posted.
Well, I'm always looking for good New Brunswick news stories, and that was on the front page of our paper. New traffic lights turn on at Costco.
It's the best.
It was a big weekend. Yeah. So anyway, I'm not sure that there's anything else new. I was gonna give some shout outs to some stuff that I've been watching. I found this series on YouTube. Worth It, the BuzzFeed series?
Yeah.
So I really liked that one. And under the recommended videos, there was one called BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Oh, yeah.
That's been going on for like 4 years. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
And really, we kind of stole their formula of basically two guys not real professionally discussing, but they've got professional video editors and stuff. But discussing these cryptids and stuff.
Basically, what you're saying is it's two guys, and that's what we've ripped off.
We've taken two guys talking about shit.
I watched Making a Murderer, the second season.
I just started it. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. I love.
Is it about the same guy?
Yeah. Stephen Avery and
sorry, I'm opening a granola bar. We're not big on editing, but I'm pretty hungry.
And the kid, I can't. Kevin, no, Corey, something Dassey.
That's the guy they think actually did it. The first one.
Stephen Avery is like the main guy, and then, oh fuck, it's gonna drive me nuts. Whatever his name, Dassey, is the kid who, when he was 16, the police officers coerced a confession out of him and got him to put the finger on,
put the finger up. I mean.
Point the finger at Stephen Avery because...
Well, we have so much control over this guy. Do you think he'd put his finger up his butt? Let's see if we can make him do it.
Yeah. Look, mate, we're going to go really easy on you. All you have to do is put your finger up your butt, and then everything's going to be all over. You can go back to normal. And that was like the tone that they were using was like, there's, just tell us the truth. Just put your finger up your butt. Everything's going to be okay. That's all we need you to do.
Listen, we know Stephen Avery did it. All you need to do is say he did it. Put your finger in your bum for 5 seconds, and then you're out of here. There's coercion, and then there's coercion.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't... Like, if you watch the video, I mean, man, it's just heartbreaking and terrifying. If you ever go in to be questioned about anything ever... Sorry, I gotta close this door. My bird is driving me up
the remaining bird. Wall. It's probably
Shut up! I hate you. You were a mistake to buy. Sorry. God.
That's your remaining bird. I wonder if it's kicking off because there's a snake in the cage.
No, there's not. He's just lonely now, so I need to get him a mirror. Or I could spend time with him.
One thing I enjoyed quite a bit. I'm getting a lot of signal.
Yeah, that's me. Every time I touch my microphone, see?
Oh, god damn it. So that's real. That's going to come through.
Yeah.
You need to ground that computer. You need to... anyway,
Stay
one thing
room.
I enjoyed...
You can't come out.
The bird?
You're grounded.
Oh, you're grounded. I'm an idiot. Anyway, one thing I enjoyed quite a bit that happened in the middle of the shit show that was the past month was that you bought a new swimming pool for your family after saving up for 3 years, and then there was like a hurricane, and you have how many acres of land?
2.5.
2.5 acres of land.
Yeah.
And as soon as they delivered the swimming pool parts, a gigantic tree fell just on the swimming pool parts.
Just on it. Like right on it. like directly on all the things. Like the entire tree, there was about 3 meters of pool supplies and 3.25 meters of tree. And not a branch.
Direct hit.
Not a branch. And the fucking thing fell uphill.
Like, it's almost like God has a laser-guided missile system for just punishing us, just kicking us when we're down.
Well, I mean, everything turned out to be fine, but, I mean, my stairs are a bit wonky now.
Oh, well.
But, I mean, apart from that, it's together and it works. So
yeah. Listen, Mike, we thought we'd add like $10,000 worth of extra deck. So we just went ahead and did that.
Was he a Kiwi that delivered the pool?
I don't do accents well. I realized that my English accent is really like, well, I can do the Harry Potter ones a little bit. My goodness, Harry. As discussed previously. But my English accent is like a very specific dialect of Northern England, and I can't do the normal English accent. Like a proper... I can't really speak how the Queen speaks.
Like Mary Poppins.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Chim chim chiroo I can say, but I can't really, do the
I'm pretty sure
talk.
Dick Van Dyke copped a lot of shit for doing that role because he had the worst English accent ever.
I know. Does that count as cultural appropriation when you have an English guy? Or like when you had, what's her name, play Bridget Jones? Renee Zellweger?
Yeah.
So, I didn't wear my fancy panties. I don't buy that accent for a second.
I liked Bridget Jones's Diary, though.
I did too. The other weird one was, Gillian Anderson.
Yeah.
From the X-Files. So I saw her on Top Gear. Now, she's American. I think she might have grown up in England, but all the other interviews I saw with her, she just speaks like,
An American.
with an American accent.
Yeah.
But then she goes on Top Gear with Jeremy Clarkson, and it's, my first car was a Volkswagen, and it was very exciting to drive. And I was just like, what the fuck? Is it make-believe? Do you just...
Well,
that annoys me.
Rick Grimes
Sound like you.
from The Walking Dead. That guy was in Love Actually, and he's the guy that was trying to steal Keira Knightley away from her husband.
Oh, shit, right.
Yeah, and he talks like proper British.
I guess it goes both ways, because the guy who played Jackson from Sons of Anarchy is actually British, right?
Really?
Mm-hmm. I can't remember his name, but thick British accent.
Jax. You keep getting messages.
Yeah, somebody is asking me desperately to take their call, and I'm not going to do it, so I'm just ignoring those messages. I'll put the phone a little bit further away.
He's bleeding out. We
Nope.
can't stop the bleeding. Sorry, podcasting.
Yeah. I'm in a big fight with work. I've been... I need them because I owe a lot of money, and I don't see any way of just retiring Freedom 38. I don't see that as being an option. But I do wonder if I could just get the fuck out and do something else for a living.
Well, I met a specialist who is now a mobile veterinary specialist, so we can get him into our clinic and he can do all the specialist things.
But he probably had to go to veterinary school.
Well, yes, but he also I'm getting my CT license because we've got a CT, so I can start doing CTs.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I wish it was that simple. I wish I could just get my cardiology license. Like, you just have to, it's $1,800 and you sign the paperwork.
Yeah.
Now you're a cardiologist.
You have to do a test. When you push the button to take the CT, are you allowed to be in the room?
This part of the body is considered the pump. A, the colon. B, the heart.
Well, it depends on your sexuality.
C, the artificial hip. Well,
See the hip.
I was I had a hard time prepping for this one, and what was exciting was it was going to be our Halloween episode, and we're the One Foot in the Grave podcast. I was all excited. So what I was going to do was the history of razor apples.
Of what?
Razor apples.
Oh,
and
no.
Yes,
I
just to see,
remember.
because I think that's more of it's almost like a cryptid, right? Nobody's ever actually given out razor apples. As far as I can tell, I couldn't find anything about it.
Well, there's been this whole thing here, though, in Australia with needles in strawberries.
Yes, yeah. So what I was going to do was talk about the great PEI needle contamination epidemic from 2 years ago. And PEI is an island in Canada that it's a province, but it's famous for its potatoes. And if you're from here, you would know the song about Bud the Spud from the Bright Red Mud.
Going down the highway smiling.
Exactly. It's like clay. The mud is made of clay, and it grows great potatoes, apparently. Anyway, some saboteur.
Wait.
Okay.
If you're ever questioned by the police, get a lawyer in the room with you. Okay, I've said my piece.
That's what you were going to say about Stephen Avery?
Yes, and the fucking bird was driving me bonkers. But
do you think he did the second murder?
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I don't know, but
I don't like Netflix telling me what to think, but
yeah.
so it was a pretty intriguing case in the first episode.
Yes.
Or first season.
Well, and I think it's just that the cops are so slimy. Like, the people who they've got... And that fucking Ken Kratz is such a piece of shit. I hate him and his fucking voice.
I loved the guy who did the, the police drawing of the suspect, and he used a picture of Stephen Avery and drew that exact picture and then put that up as the police drawing. I was like, amazing. I could be a small town police. I could be a sheriff or a sheriff's deputy. Maybe that would be my next logical move.
Yeah,
some kind of deputy.
I've got no pivot from my life.
Well, I don't have any skills for it. I would have to go to some sort of deputy school. What do you say, right, Sheriff? Let's go back to the station and cornhole us some drunks. I stole that, but I don't know what I stole it from, so there you have it. Anyway, so I was going to do the PEI potato pin story because a saboteur had invaded the island and started putting pins in all the potatoes. And then there was this massive potato recall, and it like devastated the economy. And they found about 6 or 7 potato pins, but they never say it was unsolved. I don't think they ever got the guy.
Yeah, I don't think they found the strawberry needle guy either.
Pardon me.
Oh my God.
I know. Good Lord. Well, and as you know, I've had no voice for about 3 weeks, so it's just starting to come back.
But thank goodness.
But then I got thinking, we missed Halloween, and the other thing is, my favorite murder did the friggin' razor apple story that I was going to do.
Really?
And yeah, because there was this one guy who gave his kid pixie sticks.
Yeah.
And the pixie sticks were full of potassium chloride. He did it to murder his own children. He killed one of them. Yeah. Then they figured it out. And that was I was going to do that story.
Potassium chloride.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard.
Maybe it was no. Wait, hold on. Potassium cyanide. I said the wrong word.
I was going to say it'd be really hard to kill someone orally, like
eating
potassium. Like I'm pretty sure you would shit out what you don't need.
Yeah. Sorry.
Potassium chloride.
Good thing I didn't do that story.
Oh, that's really funny. No, don't definitely don't get the two mixed up when you're at work next.
But then I started doing yeah, exactly. Jesus, potassium's a little low. Give him 20 MEQ of potassium cyanide. That'll sort him out.
Fix them right up.
So then I was disappointed that they did that story, and then we missed Halloween. But before I knew we were going to miss Halloween, I started looking at the Mothman, because I was like, man, we talked about him, because I was thinking the Slender Man was the Mothman. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I haven't done a cryptid in a long time. Let's talk about the Mothman. And I got really stoked about it. And now I definitely, sometime, when you're here for like more than a month and we don't have any big commitments, I think we should go to West Virginia and go to the Mothman town.
Really?
And go look for the Mothman.
I like the song.
I didn't know there was a song.
Country home.
Oh, yeah, that's not about the Mothman.
Mothman.
West Virginia, home of the Mothman. Take me home.
Mothman.
Country moth. Yeah, John Denver, the Mothman song. Anyway, I got really stoked about doing the Mothman because it's so ridiculous and the stories are so funny. But then there's a great BuzzFeed Unsolved episode about it, and the episode is actually so good that I was like, oh, I would just refer people to this.
Well, there's not. I mean, we're not doing this podcast in the 50s,
Yeah, it's hard to be the first at a story that's already been told.
Although I think I've got a good one. I might actually cover it in the coming episodes. I can't remember the guy's name or where it happened or when,
or what the details are.
Something about
there is a story.
There's someone's dead. Anyway, it happened down the road from where I used to live.
Well, that's a great one. That's like a hometown.
It's a hometown.
I had this idea after looking at the Mothman stuff that to improve our local economy, I think we should make up a Quispamsis cryptid. It'd be like the sewer slug.
The Kiss Pam's Quiff.
Sniff Pam's Quiff. The floating quiff of Quispamsis. The Quiff monster.
Those whirlpools at the Reversing Falls? That's actually the floating quiff.
Well, the quiff is like a big stingray, but it can fly. And it's all pink, so it's the flying quiff of Quispamsis, and it latches onto. It's tried to steal people's pets. It has a big sucker in the middle. This is getting better and better.
Oh my gosh.
So maybe that could be this episode, the flying quiff of Quispam Sis.
Well, I mean, it's probably the origin of almost every other cryptid that we've done. So.
Exactly. Two guys, one drinking.
The other just going, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Can we say quiff in the title?
I don't think it means, it certainly doesn't mean anything over here.
No. Oh, good.
In fact, I'm pretty sure it's like when you comb your hair and
Yeah.
And you get like
And
that
the static.
No, you comb your No. Your fucking chair.
I hate this chair.
Sorry.
It's not only uncomfortable, but it's so loud.
I'm so distracted.
I'm like the allergen episode. I am the allergen today.
All right, so what are you actually covering today?
All right, so because this one's for you, because you thought that nobody knew where Jim Morrison's body was, I'm doing the story of Jimmy Hoffa. Because you thought they were the same guy.
Yeah. I did.
So buckle up, because there's a lot to unpack on this one, and it's a complicated story, and there's just a hint of the supernatural at the very end.
No,
My notes are quite shitty, so bear with me. So Jimmy Hoffa, you go back to the 50s. He started as a labor organizer for dock workers when he was 18 years old. And he organized the stevedores, or dock workers, and they won a pay increase through a strike. His middle name, by the way, interestingly enough, is James Riddle Hoffa.
Oh, Voldemort.
Yeah, Tom Riddle. Yeah. And it's a riddle of where he is. After that, he moved to the Teamsters Union, and he was the International Brotherhood of Teamsters president from 1958 to 1971. Teamsters, if you don't know, I think it's like truckers, basically. The transportation union.
Because when you and Dad were telling me that Jimmy Hoffa was not Jimmy Morrison, Dad was talking about the Teamsters. I imagined a basketball team.
They're like the guys who bring the oranges. They suck on when they're on hot timeout.
Yeah.
Teamsters. It's like the water boy, the orange guy.
Do they still do that, orange wedge?
Well, I think they do it for children. I'm not sure. I've never seen them do it in the NBA. It'd be quite funny to see Kobe Bryant with a big orange slice like jammed in his mouth.
I'm pretty sure they do it.
Yeah, it could be. I would ask for it if I was in the NBA. I'd be like, "Are there no sectioned oranges for us to suck on? This is a timeout, is it not?" Anyway, at that time, 90% of U.S. transportation was controlled by the Teamsters. In 1941, there was a turf battle between the Teamsters and other drivers in Detroit. Hoffa hired the mafia to solve this problem. It's always such a terrible decision.
There's your problem.
You got 90% of the business. Oh, man, Detroit. We're having a problem in Detroit. Should we, I don't know, try and incorporate them into the Teamsters Union? Should we go and maybe take them out for dinner? Let's hire the mob to kill them. So after that, of course, the mafia essentially owned Hoffa, and therefore the mafia was in control of the Teamsters Union and specifically their pension fund. So the mob started taking loans out of the Teamsters pension fund, and they used the loans to finance Las Vegas casinos. Now, at that time, it was kind of win-win for everybody except it wasn't legal because the Teamsters hadn't signed off on this. But they were taking those loans, building casinos. They were getting good returns for their loans, and the casinos were making a lot of money, so it wasn't like the end of the world. But, you want to know if somebody's borrowing from your pension fund. So the Teamsters knew about this, but they still kind of put up with it, and they liked Jimmy Hoffa, not only because they were getting the money back, but their wages and benefits were going up because he was a pretty good organizer. Then the FBI kind of caught on to what he was doing, and he went to prison for bribery, jury tampering, and mail fraud in 1967. He got a 13-year sentence.
Gee.
But then, I've got a cough again. High quality podcast.
Yeah,
We're not editing any of this out.
Nope. Not a chance.
So he got a 13-year sentence in 1967, but then in 1971, President Nixon pardoned him. But he made him promise that Jimmy Hoffa would abstain from union activity until 1980, so for 9 more years. In July 1976, federal investigators realized the Teamsters pension fund had been robbed of hundreds of millions of dollars, and 2 weeks later, Hoffa vanished. The going theory, there are a couple theories here. One is that Hoffa really wanted to get back into the union, and his son talks about this like openly, that he wanted to get back into the union. I think what happened was the mob didn't want him making a deal with the government to parlay that part of the sentence, or like to absolve him, so that, because he had to wait until 1980 to get back into union activity. He wanted to get back right away, and the mob thought he would sell them out and give away mafia financial secrets, I guess, in exchange for them pardoning him completely and letting him go back in. So here's the disappearance. July 30th, 1975. Hoffa was 62 at the time. He went to this restaurant called the Macus Red Fox in Detroit. And he had a meeting set up with 2 guys, one named Anthony Giacalone and one named Anthony Provenzano. So it's they go by Tony Jack and Tony Pro. And Provenzano is like a Teamster mob person, and Giacalone is a mob person. And I guess Tony Pro really hated Jimmy Hoffa's guts and had threatened to kill him and kill his family and stuff already.
All around nice guy.
Yeah, but he was still meeting them for lunch because he needed their support, basically, to get back into the union. So neither of those guys showed up for the meeting. He got really pissed off. He waited around for about 35 minutes, and then he went across the street. There was like a hardware store with a phone booth, because this is before cell phones, and he called his wife to say that, these guys didn't show up. Oh, pardon me. This is a bad podcast. So now, when the FBI later questioned these guys, both insisted there had been no organized meeting, and Giacalone said he was at a health club, and he had lots of witnesses at the health club saying he was chatting with people he knew and didn't know. So he's like establishing an alibi, essentially. Hey, I'm Tony Giacalone. Nice to meet you. I see you like the treadmill as well. Tony Giacalone likes the treadmill.
That's me.
Yeah. Let's pose for a photo, should we? Hold up today's newspaper. And Provenzano wasn't even in Detroit at the time. He was at a card game in New Jersey playing with his brother at the Union Hall. So the call to Hoffa's wife was at 2:30, and then there were a couple witnesses who said he got picked up by a Burgundy Mercury Grand Marquis, or Mercury Marquis, and there were 3 guys inside the Marquis. So the next day, they realized he was missing. July 31st, 1975, they found his car in the parking lot of the Macus Red Fox. And later, they found the Burgundy Marquis, and like 25 years later, they matched a hair in it to Hoffa through DNA.
Jeez.
And that car had been rented by this guy, Chucky O'Brien, who was who was like a surrogate son to him. But there may have been some falling out between Jimmy and Chucky. And I'll tell you what's funny about all these names. Chrissy's dad, Bob, he was a firefighter, and he knew like everybody in the city in St. John. But it reminds me so much of 70s Detroit, St. John, because everybody's got a nickname. It's like, Cookie Chinch and Tattoo Stan, and nobody goes by their real name, right?
Tiny Balls.
Yeah. Yeah, there's one guy who, he's a white dude, but he's got kind of a fat face, so his eyes look like they're kind of narrowed, and they called him Charlie Chan. I remember that guy. Hey, Charlie Chan, and I was like, "Oh, how you doing?" I knew a few guys named Chan, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not Chan. My last name's Smith. They just call me that because of the eyes."
Let's go back. Yeah.
Charlie Chan. Anyway, so there's a theory that O'Brien was mad at Hoffa because he didn't get him a better position with the Teamsters. And when they questioned O'Brien, he said he was using the car to run errands and that he'd never picked up Hoffa. The car had recently been cleaned when investigators found it, though. And O'Brien said there was salmon blood in the back seat because he'd been using the car to deliver a bunch of salmon to different Teamster union halls. And so that was why he said he had to clean it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But German shepherds found Hoffa's scent in the back seat and the trunk. Sometime later, when they were, at a similar function, Hoffa's son asked Chucky O'Brien, if he was involved in his dad's disappearance, and O'Brien fled the room.
Jeez.
Hey, did you, by any chance, have anything to do with Dad when he disappeared? Run away.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. So they interviewed a couple people. One was this guy who was a known mafia hitman who a couple people say they know what happened to him. The going theory is that this other fella had been in the car, another friend of Jimmy's, but he was the mafia hitman, and he had
and he was the lead singer of the Doors.
That's right. Right. They delivered them to this abandoned house, and he says he followed him up the stairs, shot him twice behind the ear, then burned him in a burn barrel for half an hour and basically did a partial cremation, and then they buried him. But then one of the people who knew about where he was buried got arrested, so they went and dug up the barrel, and they took it to a car crushing yard and crushed it down to 1 by 2 cubic feet, and then sent it to Japan to be made into car parts.
Oh my gosh.
So I think that's what probably actually happened to him, because that story is so elaborate that it seems realistic. But for a long time they thought he was buried at the 50-yard line in Charger Stadium, but the Mythbusters sort of went in and they
debunked.
used ground penetrating sonar, and there were no bodies.
The other thing that Lord above,
it's just a lot of bio noises today.
The other thing that I think have happened is that Jimmy Hoffa is now in Puerto Rico, living off of the $1 million that he stole from the Teamsters basketball team pension.
Yeah. Well, there was a theory that he'd run off with a stripper, but pretty much everyone knows he's dead. He's toast.
Maybe.
The weird supernatural thing that happened, he had a son and a daughter, and the daughter said,
no more no monkeys jumping on the bed. No.
Exactly. How did you know? That was supernatural.
He had a daughter, and the daughter said,
no more monkeys jumping on the bed. So she said that she knew he was dead before anybody had realized he was missing or something like that. Not a great supernatural story. I just thought I'd bring it up.
Whoa. So spooky.
Well, weirdly, when our grandmother died, I was 10.
I think you've told this story.
11. Yeah, but I knew. I woke up thinking that Mom had gotten a phone call that she died, but I woke up and then the phone rang. Yeah.
Bum bum bum.
Yeah. So that's kind of the story of Jimmy Hoffa. Not well explained. Not well unpacked. I liked Tony Jack and Tony Pro.
Yeah,
I thought they were
Tony Jack
characters.
No, that's
I'm Tony Jackalone.
That's another. I can't do the.
I'm at the gym with you on Thursday, July 30th. Mark the time. Mark the time. Tony Jackalone is just such a cool name. Anthony Jackalone. And it's like GIAC.
I'm just looking up this guy who I will tell you about. Nope, I'm not. Guess what? I'm not.
Never mind. I wanted to find the name of the guy. I took a picture of my web screen with the name of the guy who they said killed him. Killed Jimmy. But then I forgot that I'd taken that picture before we started the podcast.
Yeah. Look, it's Jared Baden Clay. So,
okay.
He killed. Well, I've got some inside knowledge about this, but I don't know what.
Frank Sheeran. I wanted to say it. Frank Sheeran. That's the guy who they think shot Jimmy Hoffa. There you go. I want to say his name out loud in case the mob wants to come get me.
Yeah.
And our audience of 20 podcasts.
I feel like there's probably not a mob anymore.
Oh, there's a mob.
Well,
in Montreal, they were outed. Because, they would control, they'd give kickbacks to all the city councillors, and the city councillors would give their construction companies the gig, right? They'd give them the jobs, and then they would underbid everybody, but then they would jack up the price, and then they would use subpar concrete, and so bridges were collapsing and shit, because the mafia had bribed the... maybe I'm just being racist. Maybe they were just Italian construction companies. But anyway, they they had bribed the Montreal, city council.
Okay, you ready for this?
Ready.
Alison June Baden Clay. So,
she's a lot of names.
Yeah. She's an Australian. Baden Clay, hyphenated.
That's like a hyphenated last name, or somebody picked Baden?
No.
Okay.
No.
What should we make her middle name? Baden.
Her body was discovered on
Lucifer.
the 30th of April, 2012, 10 days after she was reported missing by her husband, Jared. And on the 13th of June...
Oh, fuck, hold on a second. Is this the podcast, Teacher's Pet?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, you continue. I'm going to quickly Google it.
On the 13th of June 2012, he was charged with her murder and interfering with the corpse.
Oh, God.
He was a realtor and actually sold Aaron's grandmother's house. So, he was in the house.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. He was in the house, showed them all around, had people over, and we were all there, cleaning everything out and stuff like that. So
these are different people. That was the Dawsons.
Good.
And the Curtises.
Good, because I'm the first. This is the first.
You nailed it.
Yeah. Boom. Got it. All right.
Exclusive.
Yeah. So at 7:30 a.m. on Friday the 20th of April, this is all from Wikipedia.
If you want to save time, feel free to just go to Wikipedia and hit fast forward for about 5 minutes.
Push the skip button. Yeah. Jared reported Alison missing from their home on Brookfield Road in Brookfield, Queensland. So they were at 593 and we were at 359. So
they were like a couple blocks up the road.
Yeah. He claimed she went for a walk at 10 p.m. the night before and had not returned home. On April 30th, a woman's body was found by someone canoeing at Colo Creek in Anstead, which is 13 kilometers away from the home in Brookfield. It's not... I used to run this path, and it's not... it really takes no time at all, because it's all downhill.
Right. Well, until you get to the end.
And then you have to go back.
Uphill.
Yeah, then it's uphill. Yes, because of topography.
Because of physics.
The following day, the body was confirmed to be Alison, and her funeral was held in Ipswich. I don't know why. Maybe she grew up there.
How do they know that the body was interfered with? What does that even mean?
I think it's because... Well, this is my take on it. So, when he reported her missing... Now, this isn't from Wikipedia. This is from my own investigation. And by investigation, a lot of family members are on the police force.
Okay.
Yeah. So when he made the... so I'm going to have to ask before I can post this. I'm allowed to divulge this information. So... Well,
surely it was... I'm sure it was in court, right? It would be public
you would hope so.
knowledge.
Yeah. So when he went and reported her missing, he had scratches all over his face. And they looked like... You know when you... Like the kids fight and they scratch each other on the face and it looks a fingernail scratch.
Welted up, yeah.
Yeah, but it's long and it's quite thin, but it's just like the top layer of skin has been removed.
Right.
So he had those all over his face, and he told the cops that it was from shaving.
What a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
You shave with your fingernails, bud?
And the other thing I think he did was he ran his car into a telephone pole so that he could... I think then he tried to blame it on that as well. So let me now read and tell you if this is actual true information. Actually, I know that that's true, but I don't know if it's public knowledge.
We have a family friend who one time in the throes of an alcoholic mental breakdown burned his house and his truck down. And do you remember that?
No.
It was a pugwash friend.
Oh yeah, and he lived in the shed. No.
This was Les, our friend Les.
Yes. Fuck. Yeah.
I think he quit drinking after that, but he was pretty wild in the day.
Yeah.
So people do all kinds of stupid shit.
So he maintained his innocence and said that he would strenuously defend the charges. His bail application was denied on the 22nd of June because Justice David Bodis said he posed a significant flight risk. The trial began in Brisbane on the 10th of June 2014. He pleaded not guilty and was found guilty, but he was found guilty of murdering Alison and disposing of her body. He was given a life sentence without parole. So this would all be public knowledge then, because it's been to court. So there's nothing actually on Wikipedia about what led to it. So so he crashed his car to sort of help to cover up the scratches and bruises that he had. I'm pretty sure it was his father helped him to put the body in the back of their car, and drove the body to this place and then dumped it. And I think he was trying to say that she had committed suicide because she was so upset after they had had a fight the night before. And then so it's always it's always suspicious when people they report somebody missing, but there's also been another major event like a car accident. I mean, I'm not giving you a handbook to how to murder your spouse, but that's not how. The other thing is that he took out $1 million life insurance plan a month before. 24 hours before. Yeah. So it was just like, oh. What kind of a retard. Then... Sorry, I shouldn't say that word. Dev. Then... Dev. He was a dev. He appealed and had the charges decreased from murder to manslaughter. But then the entire city of Brisbane was like, hell no, and they overruled that judgment and put him back as a murderer. They had a few kids, and I think that the kids before he was arrested and was living with their dad, and now live with their grandparents. But I'll do some more research onto that one, and that's a good one. I'm interested. I might cover that one next week, because I think he's appealing again because of a really bad sunburn. Do you know who Anthony Jeselnik is? A made-up fictional human with a funny he's a comedian. Name. Oh, he's a comedian, but he's got this joke, which is just when you said they reduced the charges. He said, my friends and I, when we were teenagers, and we got arrested for breaking into a graveyard at night. So, but we had a pretty good lawyer, and in the end, he got the charges decreased to criminal trespassing and necrophilia. So gross. Oh gosh. I'm just going into the graveyard to suck back a couple of cold ones. Head to the funeral home. Head to the funeral home for a couple of cold ones on the way home. Gross. I don't even know. Did I make a rape joke? That's not good. Oh, I don't know if it... Yeah, let's not Once you're dead, it's... It's necrophilia. It's not rape. It's necrophilia. Yeah. Rape? Dude, that's gross. I made a necrophilia joke. Gross. What do you take me for? Some kind of politically incorrect
asshole.
Hooligan.
Yeah. Oh, I look like Donald Trump? Donald J. Trump?
Golly.
What's the J stand for?
Jackass.
Jagoff. I don't, it's kind of a shame because when you get these polarizing people in politics, I guess as an outsider, I didn't realize that Obama was all that polarizing. But now, if I had to live there, I'd have been pretty pissed off about some of the things they did too.
I know, so, but like he a really nice guy when he.
The problem is from the outside, you always like the nice guys. That's why everybody outside Canada is like, "Oh, Justin Trudeau's so great," but then you live here and he's a phony fuckwit. But anyway, just my 2 cents on it. But
well,
so you don't realize that like the people who look good from the outside are also polarizing. But everybody in the world is looking at Donald Trump and going, "What the fuck?
Yeah,
what's happening?"
Yeah. Well, look, if friends, if you are fed up with having to be stuck with a prime minister or a president for at least 4 years at a time, move to Australia. I don't currently know the name of our prime minister because, yet again, they've changed. So
yeah,
it seems like we get a new one every 2 years, whether we vote on them or not.
It's just a constant turnover.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I don't like any politicians of any stripe, so maybe I'm just biased. I don't know.
Well,
I just don't like. I'm not a people person. I don't like people.
Yeah, I don't like.
Someday this is going to be used against me. They're going to have a sound clip of Jake Swan saying,
"I don't like.
I just don't like people. Not a people guy." Local physician accused of whatever quoted as saying, "I don't like people."
My friend Carmen, I did this thing to be the new celebrity vet, which in hindsight wasn't a great idea.
That was hilarious.
But Carmen
wasn't a bad idea.
Carmen has taken clips of my voice and pasted them together, and I can't remember what it says, but it's like, "I want to give it to you. We're going to have a great time. It'll be great," or something like that. So I'll get her to send me the clip.
You'll take it and you'll like it. I don't know why my clipped together voice sounds like Stephen Hawking, but
that's how they got him in the end.
Yeah.
That's your voice, man. You left that recording.
I never said any of those things.
I killed Jimmy Hoffa. All right,
I want to touch your quasar.
Jeez. All right. Well, make sure that you smash that subscribe button.
Yes, it's such a good podcast. And if you want to hear more about the flying monster quiff of Quispamsis, be sure to check out our next episode.
Maybe
we'll try to be more regular with these. I think we need to try at least to do mostly once a week. There are going to be weeks when we can't, obviously.
Yeah, like the weeks that I work the weekend. So
yeah, and then the weeks I work the weekend. Not so bad.
But it's okay because we work separate every fortnight. Wait.
Well, we do some Tuesdays. We can do some Tuesdays.
Go to onefootinthegrave.weebly.com to
One Foot in the Grave podcast.
One Foot in the Grave podcast. onefootinthegrave.podcast.weebly.com to find all of our links to social media, or to share your hometown murders or your spooky stories.
Do you want to hear why some people are really disappointed with this, by the way? Because there was there are some obvious reasons.
I can only imagine.
There was a TV show in England, apparently, in like the 70s and 80s called One Foot in the Grave.
I know.
So some people are finding us via that TV show.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's good for us. Not so great for the TV show.
Well, I think they would be unpleasantly surprised when they started listening and they were like, what about the... I don't know what the show is about. What about
neither do I.
The police procedural show that I used to watch. They're hardly mentioning it at all.
This isn't about Captain Knucklebot.
Yeah. Hey, are we on... we are. I found this new app called Stitcher.
Yeah, we're on Stitcher. We're on all iTunes.
Yeah, you can find all the back episodes there. I think they're all on iTunes as
and
well.
Spotify. Spotify is where I listen to all my things, because with with my current phone carrier, insert ad here. It's free downloads.
Absolutely.
All right, yo. Don't forget that your beloved pets will someday die and leave you alone.
Well, that's not necessary. So will your spouse for 50% of you. So it makes you feel any better. It's not just the pets that are going to abandon you.
That's only the 50% that are not divorced. So for
you know who won't abandon you? Our back episode catalog.
Our Patreon page at 1 foot in the grave.
Give us money. We'll be your friends till the end.
Well, if we make money, we won't make money. Sorry. If we cover our costs, we'll go on a ghost tour. So
yeah, or if we made money, I definitely want to go to West Virginia and find the Mothman.
We'll never
find that.
We'll never make
that Mothman.
We'll never make that much money, and I'm in a lot of debt now.
No, I would do it even if we made like $20. I would take it out of pocket.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yep. Gas money.
We should drive down. It'll be a trip of a lifetime.
It'll be a hoot.
And we'll find the Mothman. I mean, if anybody can find them. With your veterinary skills and my sleuthing skills,
yeah,
we'll find the Mothman.
You know, I think the easiest way will be to go into a dark field with a torch.
Yeah. And cast some shadows in the sky.
Yeah. We'll find them all.
Also, I'd like to find the flying quiff monster of Quispamsis.
Yes. I don't know where.
That would be a cheaper trip for me because I live in Quispamsis.
I don't really know where to start with that one, but
I can find a smaller quiff and then work from there.
Yeah. When you hear the moist flapping sounds on Quispamsis, run. It's the quiff monster of Quispam's quiff.
And on that happy note,
goodbye.
We'll bid you adieu. Goodbye.